All right.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today. We have Demetri for GTL that is going to run through his hospital indemnity program and explain how you sell it, why you sell it, and why this should be a part of your portfolio. Super excited to have him. GTL is one of the products that I recommend that you have in your bag of tricks for hospital indemnity. So I would definitely grab a notepad and take some notes as you listen to the wizard talk about how to make this happen and get it on your table. So with that, I am going to go on mute and turn this over to Demetri to go ahead and school you.
Thanks, Amanda. I should wear one of those wizard hats when I do this, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
That could be fun. Well, good morning, everyone. As Amanda said, I'm Demetri Simos. I'm the AVP of Sales here at GTL, and I'm gonna try to give you. My goal really is gonna try to give you as much information that you can possibly want to know about complementary products, in general, but and specifically we're going to talk about hospital indemnity, but I will touch on some various other products just to kind of give you some broad knowledge real quick. But our focus today will be hospital indemnity. So GTL, it doesn't stand for Jim Tan Laundry, for those of us that know that show. It does stand for Guaranteed Trust Life Insurance Company. That's our full legal name, but everyone in the market and the industry knows us as GTL. Who is GTL? It's always a good question because we're not a huge conglomerate. Maybe after this past weekend, when if you were watching the Open, the golf tournament, the Open, you'd have seen the guy that won it had GTL sprawled across his chest, on his left side there, because he's a golfer that we do sponsor and work with, and Brian Harmon. So we're very, so we got a lot of national publicity from that perspective, which is cool. But not that that's that important from what you want to know. But people are starting to get to know GTL a lot more. But those of you that are in the senior market today know about GTL because we're the leader, and we're one of the main leaders in the senior market from a complementary product perspective. Why do I call it complementary products? I call it complementary products because it makes sense. Ancillary, the word ancillary, I have to use a dictionary to tell you what that means. But if I'm talking to a layman person, which we all do, because between the conversation between you and a particular client, they're the layman, right? And you're the expert. And you might know what ancillary means, but the layman's aren't going to know it. So use complementary as a word, and it's going to help the client make a lot more sense. But a little bit about GTL. We're a family-run business since 1936. Same family that started the company back then is still running it today. We have our third generation of leadership here. Rick Holson is the president, chairman, and CEO of the company. We're considered a mid-sized company. It's all said and done. You see a picture right there on the screen? That's our home office in Glenview, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. We house about 300 employees here. We do everything out of this building, from customer service, claims, sales, licensing, and whatever you can think of that we need to do as an insurance company, that's what we're doing right there out of this building here. And we are a mutual company, so so that means the policyholder owns, is the owner of the company technically, right? And so yes, the Holson family founded the company, is directing and leading the company, but the policyholders are ultimately the owners. One of the things that I tend to like about the mutual setup, and also being more of a mid-sized carrier versus a conglomerate per se, is that we can do things a little quicker, than in the big conglomerates with multi-levels of decision making that needs to happen and so forth. So that's, I think our ability to be nimble and quick is very, very important, especially for our business, that what we all do. We're licensed in 49 states. Our AM Best rating is an A-. Hopeful in the next year or two, we're going to have that to be up to an A, and then a few more years later, get that up to an A+. But as of right now, we're an A-, but we're very, very, very strong financially. No concerns there whatsoever. I'm very, very confident that, the promises that you're making to your clients about what the plans are going to do, that we're going to be able to fulfill those promises for your clients. And we have zero debt on our balance sheets. Now, you heard me say we're a leader, GTL is a leader in complementary products. What our complementary products look like? Oops, excuse me. Let me go back a slide here. There we go. What do complementary products look like? It's all these products here, because being in the senior market isn't just about doing one thing. It's not about just selling an MA plan and then saying, thank you, I'll see you next year. Being in the senior market, there's a lot of other opportunities that are available to help protect clients' assets and provide them with peace of mind. Yes, if we're talking about Medicare Advantage, yes, we're going to have options for sure. Talk hospital indemnity, which we will do today. We'll talk about that and you'll learn about that. But what happens if you don't have, what happens if the opportunity is not there for a hospital indemnity because the client might not qualify? What else could I do for the client to help give them peace of mind? Well, maybe you can offer them a cancer plan. We have a couple great cancer plans. We have a plan called Precision Care. It's the only one of its kind on the market. It's a lump sum cancer plan that also has a genomic sequencing benefit as part of a base benefit, which is a really, really important piece of cancer treatments these days. I mean, I know my guess is many of you, or if not all of you, know somebody that's been diagnosed or treated with cancer, either a loved one, a friend, acquaintance, whatever the case may be. We know somebody that's been diagnosed with cancer, and we see what happens from that perspective, financially, emotionally, family support that goes on with all that. If you know the individual that's been diagnosed with cancer, I can tell you personally, I've been diagnosed with cancer twice in the last 4 years. I can tell you that I am not interested as a cancer patient to sit there and try one way, see if that works, try another way, see if that works. That's where genomic sequencing comes into play, is that it gets down to the molecular level of that cancer, gets a fingerprint of what that particular cancer is, and then helps match up the best treatment. So that's why that product is so cool and important. If you're already offering cancer insurance and you don't want to change what you're doing on your normal cancer thing, not a problem. Just come back to that client that you sold cancer to and offer them a Precision Care for $15 a month. And that'd be great. They'll still get the genomic sequencing benefit as part of it. Or if you want to just do straight lump sum cancer with heart attack, stroke, we have another product for that. We also have products regarding short-term care. I know we talk a lot about in the industry about long-term care planning, and but the problem with long-term care is that it's expensive, or it's very difficult to get for folks these days, right? So short-term care is another good alternative to that, to the problem. If somebody's needing long-term care and they can't get it or can't afford it, you can go with a short-term care. We have two products: Recover Cash, which is a short-term nursing home product, which has a very substantial home health care rider, along with a caregiver benefit that's part of that home health care rider. Take a look at it. It is very, very neat product and very affordable for your clients to be able to purchase and get that coverage. We also have a short-term home health care, specific home health care product. It's a standalone product. It takes care of benefits from a skilled care perspective, and then also takes care of some benefits from a home care aid perspective. And then there's also a prescription drug benefit. When you look at the whole total package, I would dare to say it would probably be the most affordable insurance plan ever that a client could ever purchase. At some point in the future, I'll talk to Amanda. We'll try to do a webinar on short-term care specifically, so I can kind of pinpoint to that for you what that is. Aside from the health side of the world, we also offer some life insurance. If you're doing some underage, 55 and under, basically traditional term insurance, you got clients that are looking for up to $1 million of life insurance to protect their family. Fully underwritten. We have a turbo term, fully underwritten term life portfolio available to you. We also, being that we're in the senior market, we talk a lot about final expense, I'm sure. We have our go-tos for those clients that qualify, and be able to get the inexpensive, because they're healthy, final expense type programs. But what happens when the client doesn't qualify for the inexpensive plans because they've got some health issues, right? So what's my options? Do I go straight to GI? A lot of people do, but there is an option in between GI and traditional final expense. And that's the Heritage Plan. It's a graded benefit whole life product, 6 underwriting questions, very simple, basic questions. They answer no other questions, policies issued. We will offer coverage up to 20,000. The graded basically means is that year one, the beneficiary receive return of premium plus 5% interest. Year two, they'd be eligible for 50% of the death benefit, which that's a really strong year two benefit in the graded benefit market. And then year three, the beneficiary would get access to the full death benefit. If this is graded benefit refers to if somebody passed due to an illness. Now, if somebody passed due to an accident, the beneficiary would receive the full death benefit that was applied for. So very cool products, from a senior market perspective that you can definitely have conversations with, for your clients, without a doubt. So I know today I said we're going to talk about start. I'm going to kind of do this maybe what you're accustomed to doing it. I'm not going to sit here and go through a PowerPoint with you. I could do that, and you can kind of conceptually see where I'm going with it. But I've been finding and thinking that if I kind of show you from our e-app perspective, and it also gives you an opportunity to see what our e-app looks like, that you'll be, might make a little bit more sense for you. So I'm going to be doing this presentation off of our e-app. We have a couple different e-apps that you'll have access to. If you're already contracted, you got a welcome email from us. You take that welcome email and then you go into our e-app and then you can create your own username and password. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But so we've got the e-app that you can do off of a web browser, which is GTL. You can also go the Apple Store or the Android Store and download our mobile app. Now, the advantage of using a mobile app over the website is this. If you're doing an appointment face-to-face with a client, you want to be doing the applications on the mobile app. For the cancer, hospital indemnity, short-term care, health products, you definitely want to do that on the mobile app. Why? Because on the mobile app, you'll be able to take the signature of the client right there on the screen and then save it, and then it'll apply it to the application. So then when you submit it, you don't have to do anything more. You don't have to do any voice verification calls or text assigns or anything like that. Because you're face-to-face, you acquire the signature right there. You want to use that mobile app for that purpose. Now, if you're doing a telephonic sale because your client lives an hour and a half away, 2 hours away, you got a great relationship with them, you can explain what the products are that you want to talk to them about and do the application over the phone. Not a problem. We can do that off of our web browser at gtlic.com. So now the other advantage to using the web browser is that all the products are going to be available in the web browser. And there's also going to be an additional feature that's going to be available in the web browser that I'll show you in a second. Like on the mobile app, we really can only do our health products on the application process there. If you are interested in doing the life products, then you definitely want to be doing a telephonic, using the web browser, because that's only available on the web browser version. So told you all that. Okay, now how about what happens? You are contracted in multiple states. And I don't expect you, because I don't remember, to be honest, and I only deal with one company, GTL, right? Well, how do I know what's available in all the other states? Well, if you come to gtlic.com, look under agents, click on state approvals here, you'll see a map. So I know Amanda is over here in Ohio, right? So she knows what's available in Ohio because that's her home state. But Amanda, let's say, is non-resident states in a number of different states. Let's say she's got clients in Missouri, but she's not exactly sure which products are available in Missouri, because not every state's going to have all the products because they're all regulated by separate Department of Insurances. So now you click on Missouri. So now I can take a look here, see what products I have all available in Missouri. So when I'm talking to my clients in Missouri, I can really have a good idea of which direction I need to go with them. So just something just for you guys to kind of, I think is very helpful or if you're a person that likes to look at charts and kind of do the go across and down scenario there, you can definitely download a chart, which is the downloadable PDF, it'll have all the information right there on one page for you. All right, so that's the kind of the front end. Oh, also, one of the things that I want to make sure I point out too while we're on this part of the webpage is that when your clients get a policy from GTL, we don't mail them an actual physical policy any longer. What we do is we're going to send them, if we have their email address, we will send them a welcome email. They'll have a welcome letter. Thank you for purchasing a product, and to access your policy 24/7, 365 days a day, a year, you can come here to gtlic.com, click on policyholder login right there, create your username and password, and you can view your policy at any time. So you don't have to worry about ever losing it and not having the information that you want to have there. Now, if your client is wanting to get a policy sent to them, they're more than welcome to contact customer service and they'll send them a policy if that's what they would like. Also, I said that if we have their email address, we'll send them a welcome email. What happens if they don't have an email address? No matter if we have an email address or not, everyone within a week or so, about a week or so after the policies are issued, will get a welcome kit sent to them with the welcome letter, a summary of benefits of what they purchased, and so they'll have that information right there on their fingertips too, so they can keep that in a special place at home to be able to refer to if they ever have a need for that. So that's a couple housekeeping items there from a web perspective. So now let's get into talking about what it looks like as a first-time agent, or if you haven't gone into our e-app before. This is what you're going to want to do: is click on new user, utilizing the writing agent number that we provided to you. You're going to input that right here, agent number, some information that you're going to know already. You're going to create your own username and password. Once you create your own username and password, you hit submit, and then it's going to say registration is completed. And right away, you'll be able to utilize that username and password either on the mobile device or here on the website. The same username and password will work for both. And so then I'm going to input there my username and password, and then it's going to take me to the main page of our e-app. Okay, so you got a couple of options that you can do here, right? You got quote and submit, which we'll go into in a second. You got review, resume, Access GT Link. Access GT Link is a great place for you from a back office support perspective. If you want to, I'll go into that real quick here so you can see it. You can download order forms here. You can look at your pending business to see if anything is hung up at all for some reason, like if we need additional information or something like that. If you want to see some webinars, if you have some insomnia one night and you want to, you need something to help you go to sleep, maybe an agent training might be something to take a look at. We got some consumer marketing pieces, and I'll come back to this in a little while, but this is something I think it's important to kind of know about. And then we also have a we also have a calendar of upcoming webinars that we perform here at GTL. So we have a lot of, this could be a very helpful, place for you in general. But hospital indemnity conversation, okay? This is a really neat tool that you can only access off of our base portal here. You can't access this on a mobile device, but it's called Fill the Gaps tool. I know you guys are very, very good at what you do, but it's probably very difficult to remember everything, in terms of what's available from an MA perspective from every zip code, or especially if you're dealing in multiple states and so forth. So what we did is we created this tool here. So let's say, Amanda had a client here in the Chicago area, and that client lived in the 60025 area code. Now, because they lived in the 6025 area code, she probably has a pretty decent idea of what it is, but maybe she doesn't know all the plans that are available. And now the client that she's talking to might say, oh, hey, Amanda, you know what? I have an MA plan. It's going to retrieving all the information. We actually have a lot of plans here in that zip code. And it's going to take a second. There we go. So now the client's going to tell Amanda, well, I have a plan with, let's just say we use Cigna in Chicago, right? But okay, so you have Cigna, okay, then so Amanda's planning on doing this on her end, right? She's doing, okay, Cigna, and which plan do you have with Cigna? Is it the Choice Plus Medicare? Is it the Courage, Medicare, and so forth, right? You kind of get the idea here. Let's just use it with the first one. And then what it will do, it'll pull up just the big pertinent numbers that you're going to want to know about what that MA plan has. What is the hospitalization copays, for that particular MA plan? What's their ambulance copay? Oh, with this plan, it's 20% coinsurance. Okay, so that's interesting. I haven't seen that one in a while, to be honest. So, or you got outpatient, rehab. They're doing 20% coinsurance. Okay, skilled nursing, they're doing $200 a copay from days for days 21 to 100. Okay, it's all good information for me to know. And now when I'm talking to the client, I'm going to have that conversation and tell them, okay, well, I have a plan that can help you with these copays that you have on your MA plan. Okay, so you can have that conversation. That's what the point of having this fill the gaps tool is all about. Now, if the clients, after your conversation says, yes, I'm interested to learn more and have that conversation about hospital indemnity, all you would need to do is click on apply for applicant one, and then it'll take you right to the quoting screen where you can input date of birth and so forth. So if you wanted to do a second applicant on this fill the gaps tool, you can add us to a second applicant right here. But I'm going to go back to return to the e-app because I want to start this off from probably more of a regular process for you and have a conversation regarding, well, how do I start my conversation regarding hospital indemnity? It's a very simple process, guys. This is not something that you have to be telling them GTL, Advantage Plus, and all that, Advantage Plus Elite and all that. So I always recommend to folks when you're talking about hospital, when you're meeting with a client, you always want to tell them, be self-promoting, right? What it is that you do for your clients. I just want to remind you of this, okay, we're here to talk about Medicare today, but I also do work with, with critical illness like cancer plans, or I work with long-term, short-term care programs, or if you don't do long-term care, maybe you say short-term care programs. I also work with hospital indemnity plans. I work with life insurance. If you do annuities, you do annuities, whatever it is you do. Tell them every time you see them, let them know so that they remember. But the key thing that goes on at that point is that you're telling them everything you're doing, and they're hearing the word hospital indemnity, for example, for the first time in your initial introduction. So then as you're going through your MA presentation, you're going to go through you're going to make sure you have the scope of appointment completed, right? And on that scope of appointment, they're going to be initialing hospital indemnity. So that's now twice they saw the word hospital indemnity, right? So now, second time, that's great. Now you're going through the MA. You're talking about the zero premium. You're talking about all the good things that the MA has, and then also letting them know about, what their exposure is by having an MA plan, right? Now, part of that exposure is going to be hospitalization. Not a problem. That's fine. You should have exposure, but let's say the example was was $295 for 7 days. And what you're going to tell that client is what? You're not going to sell a hospital indemnity plan at that time. All you're going to say to them is, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, if you're concerned about this copay, which let's break it down what that really means, having this hospitalization copay, let's use $300 as the number because it's easy math. That means that if you're in the hospital for 6 days at $300 a day, you're going to be responsible for $1,800. Your maximum out of pocket that we talked about is, let's say, $5,000. So if you go in the hospital twice in a given year and you're in there for 6 days both times, that's going to be out of pocket exposure of $3,600. So they understand what that copay means. But if you're worried about that, I could show you a plan that could help cover that copay for you. Does that sound okay? Most people are going to probably say, absolutely, looking forward to it, right? Not a problem. And then when you get to the ambulance copay, when you get to the outpatient therapy copay, when you get to the outpatient surgical copay, when you do the skilled nursing copay, all you're going to do when you talk about those copays, you're going to talk about what? I'll show you how I can cover those when we talk about hospital indemnity at the end of the conversation here. Radiation chemotherapy copay. That's a big one, guys. That's 20% applied to the max amount of pocket. I promise you, not that because I don't know. Guess what? I do know. 20% of max amount of pocket exposure, that client's going to hit their MOOP if they're on an MA plan. Radiation chemotherapy is not cheap. So that's a big exposure and risk, right? And our jobs are to what? Mitigate the risk, right? Not most of your clients' savings accounts are not designed or planned on to do what? Pay for health insurance costs, right? They probably have savings accounts because they want to do fun stuff with it. Maybe they want to take grandkids out or go travel or whatever the case is. They're not looking for that savings account to cover $5,000 out of max amount of pocket exposure. Or maybe they have that savings account, take care of their final expenses, whatever the case is. Having a hospital indemnity plan now, as we get into this, you're going to see it's going to be pennies on a dollar to access a significant amount of benefits for these clients, okay? So now you're done with the MA plan. You have that whole conversation, right? So then now I'm going to switch over here for a second. Consumer marketing. Once you switch over and you're ready to do that transition from the application to talk about hospital indemnity, I always encourage people, come right here. You can also download this onto your laptop if you'd like, or our brochures are going to have a QR code in the front that can help you have a client can look at this video right on their own smartphone. But you can pull up this consumer product video and you can play this video for them. And also this video, you can copy and paste this and use it on a Facebook post or an email blast to existing clients to let them know you want to talk to them about this product. If you want to have a website, you can embed it into the website. So we got a number of different marketing tools you can do, marketing things you can do with this video. Is this the only product that has videos? No, it's not. Cancer plans have videos, short-term care plans have videos. So we have you have other plans that have videos for sure. But now not to get off the point here. So now your client saw the video. Now we're gonna have that conversation about hospital indemnity. Now, how does that conversation work out? Okay, well, let's say I have a client here that's born in 1958. That's a male. I'll just use this as my example. Oops. For my purposes here, I'm just going to utilize just real simple. What's the resident state of the client is what we're going to need to put here. Not the state that you're in taking the application. It's the resident state of the client. So let's say, Amanda's talking to me. I'm the insured here. She's in Ohio, but I have to use Illinois application. So if the product's approved in Illinois, you can definitely go ahead and have that conversation, which it is here. And then I'm going to hit next. So it tells me it's 65-year-old applicant, male, state of Illinois. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a quote with Advantage Plus Elite for hospital indemnity. As you've noticed probably here, all these other products are also can be quoted at the same time if you wanted to. You don't have to do these one at a time. But I'll stay focused on hospital indemnity. So the conversation is going to be this with the client. What I'm going to do here for you, you're not going to want to do it this way for the client. I'm going to recommend that you're going to want to present the total package of what you think your client should have all at this one time and just give them what the monthly premium is going to be. And we'll touch on that in a little bit. But so the question is, real simple here. What do you have to deal with here? How many days is your copay? 6? You could match this up to be right on what the MA is, but I would probably tell you, don't do 6 because next year MA could change. 2 years from now, it could change. 65 years old today. This is going to be the cheapest time for them to buy insurance, is their current age today. As they get older, insurance gets more expensive. And also, maybe their health circumstances will change. So who knows that maybe at age 68 or 69, 70 or something like that, when the MA changes, they might not be able to get the increase of benefits to be able to match it up better with the MA. So I always tend to say go with a day or two more than what their current copay is today. So I'm going to go with the day with 2. I like the little bit more buffer. And then you're going to choose. We said that on that Cigna plan that I was looking at, it was $295. So let's call it $300. What do you think? What do you think I'm going to say about the $300? Should I give them $300 or should I give them more than $300? If you're saying more, you're absolutely correct. Somewhere around 350s, I think is a good number. Oops, I've put 340 in there. Okay, there we go. Yeah, somewhere around there, 350 is a good number, right? So now what is it? This is the base plan that we're talking about right here. This is nothing more than base plan. Now, what does a base plan mean for the particular client? Here's what it means. If a client is hospitalized for a 24-hour period, they're going to get, for one 24-hour period, they're going to get $350. Doesn't matter if their copay is $295, they're getting $350 with us. The extra dollars they can use however they want, okay? So, but what happens though, if the client is hospitalized in less than for the first day for less than 24 hours? Typically in hospital indemnity plans, if they're in there for less than 24 hours, it's not a benefits payable because it's not a 24-hour period. With our plan, we have a short duration benefit, we call it. If the client, that's part of the base plan, you don't have to do anything more, just know that, explain it to the client. If the client is hospitalized between 6 to 24 hours and discharged, they will get that $350 if they're on a 3 through 10 or 15-day benefit period. Okay. If they're on a 1-day benefit period, they'll get 25% of the benefit on a 1-day benefit period. Now, one key thing to pay attention to about our hospital indemnity plan is that observation and confinement, we don't distinguish between the two. No distinction. We don't distinguish about it at all. So there's no limits to how many times in a given year somebody can get paid out a benefit on observation. It's all about the 24-hour stays in the hospital. So if somebody, I know this doesn't happen, but this is, we'll be a little crazy. Somebody goes into the hospital for 8 days and all 8 days was under observation, they're going to get that full benefit that they expected for 8 days of being in the hospital. They're not going to get capped out at 5 or 6 or 4, whatever the case may be. A lot of other companies out there do that. They cap it out for observation. For us, doesn't matter. Observation, confinement, the same difference. So just kind of want to really stress that because that is really, really important a point. Also, part of the base benefit is an emergency room benefit. Emergency room benefit is for an accident or injury. They can get up to $150 if they go to emergency room or urgent care. Urgent care is not an additional rider or additional cost to the client. It's part of our base benefit. It's already built right into there, okay? And then we also have a mental health benefit, which is $175 for the 7 days per calendar year. That makes up our base plan. Pretty robust right there, guys, right? At the end of the day, if your clients end up being, at the base benefit, and every client needs to add an ambulance rider. Let's just use $200 as the example here. The $200 they'll get 4 times per year for an ambulance ride to the emergency room, right? Or from medical facility to medical facility. It's once a day benefit. 4 times per year, 12 lifetime trips. It also includes if they were air ambulanced out, to get to the hospital. That does include that. Look how inexpensive that is. Got to add this on every single one. Outpatient therapy. A lot of conversation about outpatient therapy. Actually, right behind ambulance rider, this is a great rider. A lot of folks are adding this to their coverages. It's $50 benefit for outpatient therapy services, speech therapy, physical therapy, type services. They're $50 a day for a 30-day benefit period per year. Do not look at the 15-day. The reason why I tell you don't bother with the 15-day, because the cost is like 93 cents difference or 96 cents difference, 93 cents difference, 606. I'd rather give my client 30 days of benefit period for $6.99 a month. Okay. And there's also part of this outpatient therapy benefit are 5 visits to a chiropractor per year at $50 per chiropractic visit. Another one that I like a lot is going to be the skilled nursing option 2. Why do I like skilled nursing option 2? Because it's a little bit more budget friendly. Skilled option 1 could make a lot of sense, and I can make arguments for both. But I know, when we're looking at a budget perspective, I want to make sure that I try to, I want to cover this, what the skilled nursing scenario will be. That's $12.94. This restores every 60 days. Oh, I didn't say this earlier. The base benefit here for hospitalization, each time the client is hospitalized, if they use their benefit fully or if they haven't fully, it restores after 60 days of not being in the hospital. So if somebody, for example, was in the hospital for 3 days and then 3 weeks later, they go back in again. They got 5 days of benefit period left. They use those up. If they're out of the hospital for 60 consecutive days after the second stay, they'll have a brand new 8-day benefit period. Unlimited restorations. The same with the skilled nursing, 60 days, unlimited restorations. It's not a one-time restoration like some other plans that are out there. This is unlimited. Not that people tend to go to, go there 5, 6, 7 times, but maybe some people go twice, 3 times. So it gives them a good option there for a really, really affordable price there. Radiation chemotherapy copay. This is huge. Whatever your max amount of pocket is, this is for one-time max amount of pocket. Theoretically, or in best case scenario, if you can do 2 times max amount of pocket, let's say it was, $5,000 was the max amount of pocket. This is what I would want to offer the clients. Why? Because I don't know when cancer is going to get diagnosed. I was diagnosed with cancer last November. So guess what I was doing in November? I was doing biopsies, I was doing, treatments and so forth, right? Surgeries and all that kind of stuff, right? Guess what I hit in November? I hit my max amount of pocket. But then guess what happens January 1st on the health plans? The max amount of pocket resets. So then now as I'm continuing on currently with my treatments, what's happening? I hit my max amount of pocket again for this year. Now I understand, and it's just a suggestion, just as a thought. I'm not gonna tell you have to do this, but that's what 2 times out of pocket could do for your clients. Help protect against 2 years worth of max amount of pocket. I know that you look at it with recurrence option here. The recurrence option will restore the benefit fully if the client's in remission for 5 years or longer, and if they get diagnosed with the same or different cancer, they'll pay out the $10,000 for that client in this example here. Or if they got diagnosed with another cancer, the same cancer, less than 5 years, they'll get a percentage of the benefit that they were paid out. But I get it from a budget perspective, this might be a little bit more attractive. Going with a one-time max amount of pocket exposure scenario there. I understand that, and I get it. I'm not judging. Just food for thought for you. The other one that makes a lot of sense is the outpatient surgical. We have other riders here, but I think from an MA perspective, talking to your clients, this is the package, or some semblance of this package is what you would want to look at. So I told you at the beginning that you're not going to want to do what I just did for you, just build it all together, because I wanted to explain some of the products to you, how the product works. But the outpatient surgical rider, that's payable 2 times per year for outpatient surgery. That means an incision is made and tissues removed. That's what outpatient surgery means. So now if somebody had a cataract surgeries, one in May, one in August, they had $250, they'll get $500 benefit out of this rider. Look how inexpensive this is. The $622 doesn't matter if I'm talking about a 65-year-old, a 70-year-old, 75-year-old, that's the same price right there for this rider. Outpatient therapy, the $699 works the same way. This is a price that doesn't matter if you're 65, 70, or 75, you can definitely, it'll be the same price for those age groups. Those are the 2 riders that have one price set for them. Okay, now the other riders are going to be based on issue age. So what that means is that today at age 65, it's going to cost, let's say, for example, $18.35 for a $5,000 cancer rider. Once they purchase that rider, that cost is going to stay the same for years and years to come. Is it guaranteed forever? No, it's not guaranteed forever. But our hospital indemnity plan came out in 2005. We're the first ones to come up with a plan to cover the exposures that MA had. And 18 plus years later, we haven't had any rate increases or benefit decreases in this product grouping. That tells me a lot in that this product is very, very, very stable, and that the likelihood of a client getting a rate increase in the future is very, very, very small. So now the presentation that you're going to make to your client is going to be, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, some semblance of this, doesn't have to be exactly this, but you know the whys why I like this now. So I can cover up that exposure that you had that we talked about earlier with your MA plan. You can do this for $78.48 a month, and this will take care of those exposures. And remember, this is going to be kind of a fixed component of your healthcare costs, $78.48. You're going to have some folks that say, you know what, that sounds great. perfect. Then you go ahead and then you go right into apply now and go ahead and do the application, right? Or you're gonna have some clients that are gonna say, it's a little bit outside of the range that I was thinking about. All right, not a problem. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones, of all the benefits that we talked about, which ones would you want me to remove the protection for you on? Are you not concerned about skilled nursing? Are you not concerned about the, having cancer diagnosis? You tell me. And then now you got your client in that decision process with you. So now whatever they purchase, they're going to be comfortable with because they're a part of the process. You made the overall recommendation. Now let's turn around and say, well, you know what? Let's say they're not worried about skilled nursing. Okay, so let's remove that. Okay, so we're down to $65. You're gonna have some clients say, you know what, this sounds more manageable for us. Yeah, we can do this. Let's do $65. Or you're gonna have others that are still gonna say, yeah, still outside the range I'm thinking about. Let's say they remove the lump sum cancer. Now we're down to $47 a month. You're gonna get a lot of people that say, okay, vast majority of the people are gonna say, great, let's go ahead. We'll still stick with this. Keep outpatient therapy. We keep outpatient surgical, hospital, the ambulance rider, and the daily benefit component of it. Great, go ahead and do the application. Again, you will have some that are still gonna, because I get it's a budget scenario. They're gonna be like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna ever use outpatient therapy, so let's bring it down. And I'm not gonna need outpatient surgical. Let's bring it down. Now let's just do the base plan with an ambulance rider for $40. It'll be about somewhere around the $30 some odd a month range. They take everything off. Oh, that's where it was. There we go. Gotta make sure I take the recurrence off when I clicked off lump sum cancer there. Or if you wanted to increase the ambulance benefit there, you could do that instead of $250. It could be $1.79. Whatever the case may be, guys. This is definitely very, very pliable to what you want to do. But they might want to just stick with a base benefit, or maybe they just want to go with 1 day instead of 2 days of buffer on the MA plan. And instead of $350, maybe they're okay with going with $320. So you can play around with this a little bit, right? That's kind of the point. You want to make this affordable and something that's good. Some clients going to keep this for a long time to come. So now, the client says, yes, you know what, let's go ahead with $37 a month. Sounds great. Keep in mind the average premium that we see coming in. This is the average premium is gonna be around $45 a month is what we typically see coming in. Okay. So now let's talk how easy, from an underwriting perspective, this product is. Okay. Now, one of the neat things about our plan is that we have a guarantee issue window. What did we say the age of this client was? 65, right? So your client that's age 65 is going to have a guarantee issue period, because our guarantee issue goes from age 64 and a half through age 67. So that means they don't have to answer the first 5 health questions on the application. So it doesn't matter what health conditions they have, they're going to automatically get this program no matter what. The thing you have to pay attention to is that you got to make sure that the clients, no matter whenever you're presenting, it doesn't matter, whenever you're offering plans, they need to know what pre-existing condition means. And in case you're not aware of what pre-existing condition is, pre-existing condition means if a client was seen by a doctor for a particular circumstance, excuse me, for a particular circumstance within 6 months of the policy being issued, and then that client, because of that circumstance they were being seen for, let's say gets hospitalized the first 6 months of the policy is in force, that wouldn't be a covered condition. It would be if if hospitalization or a benefit claiming happened 6 months and 1 day after the policy is in force. So this is day one coverage, no doubt. Client's going to have day one coverage. They buy this plan today. So, they're perfectly healthy, haven't seen a doctor in years. Everything's great, but something got, but then they got, let's say, had a car accident. They're hospitalized now. They got day one coverage. But they need to make sure they understand the pre-ex, because that is important. And this, because a lot of folks, when I think when they think about insurance, they go, "Oh, I'll buy it today. I'll get covered tomorrow. I'll pay for all this stuff today." It doesn't quite work that way. There is pre-ex language, so they need to understand that. So now, So now there are questions, no matter if it's guarantee issue or not, you will have to answer questions if you add the lump sum cancer rider. If you add the lump sum cancer rider, the questions that you need to add are going to be 3 questions. Answer them no, policy is issued. Now, if you have clients that are 68 and above or under age 64 and a half, they'll have to answer those first 5 health questions. How does that work? They answer no to those questions, the policy is issued. No MIBs, PHIs, any of that. Or, let's not tie acronyms. No medical information bureau, no personal history interviews, no prescription checks, or any of that is going to be done on this product. It's all based off the information that's provided to you by your client. So it makes it real easy. It's an easy process for folks to be able to get, to get coverage with, with our plan. So what happens once you get the application completed? What do? You got a couple of options here. Now, if you're doing the mobile app, as I mentioned, you affix the signature right on the mobile screen, right? So you sign your screen, save it, and you submit the application, policy is going to be issued. Now, if you're doing it based off of this the web browser here, and you're talking to the client over the phone, you're going to have a couple different options that you could utilize. One option is going to be, maybe you want your client to fill out the application, submit it back into you. And I think most folks don't go that route because then they have to chase people down to get an application. But most folks, what they're going to do is they're going to go ahead and click on apply now. We're going to have a reminder here now. I'm glad this popped up because it reminds me now. Now, what happens if your client doesn't qualify for hospital indemnity because they're 68, 69 years old, and they have health issues and they have to answer yes to health questions? Are you dead in the water there as from a protection perspective? No, you're not. You should take, pivot at that point and tell your client, talk to your client about a lump sum cancer plan for $5,000 or $10,000 to help against the diagnosis of cancer and having to hit the max out of pocket. So then you go right in here, you say, okay, I want the documents sent to the insured, and then you just go ahead and fill out the application. Very simple app, guys. It's not hard at all, okay? I'm not gonna go through the application because I don't think you'll wanna watch me type, but I just wanted to kind of show you there what that kind of looked like. Very simple process right here, okay? Now, the capturing of signature perspective is going to be this way, where you're going to get a screen on your e-app that's going to say, you want to do a text to sign or a voice verification. What all text to sign is that as you're going through the app, you can click on text to sign, type in your client's cell phone number. Right, as soon as you hit send, your clients can immediately receive a text from us with a link that they click on. They make sure they press firmly and they sign in the box and hit submit. And then it'll match up their signature that they did on the text on their mobile device, match up to the application. Once that matched up, then you can go ahead and finish off the application and submit it. Or you can do a voice verification call, which you can conference in with your client, do a conference call there. Call our 800 number, an automated attendant will answer, and it's available 24/7, 365 days. So any time of the day and night it works. And now your client's going to be asked these questions. What's their name? What's their date of birth? What's the last 4 of their social? What's their agent's name? So you want to pre-coach, I'm telling you this so you can coach your clients about this. What's their agent's name? It's the name of the product that they purchased. And then the last 2 questions are, did they answer the questions truthfully? Which we obviously hope that answer is yes. And then they understand there's a premium associated with this sale. And they say yes. Then they'll get a verification that says, thank you very much for applying. Your call's been verified. You can drop that call and then go ahead and finish off the application, submit it. And then once you submit the application, within about 3 to 5 minutes, the welcome emails, if we have an email, goes out to the client. They know their information. Policy is going to be issued right away. Everything is completed and done, and your client's going to have that coverage. Now, I know a lot of people always ask, well, what happens? What can my effective dates be? Anytime. I know a lot of folks during AP will say, well, I'm going to do a 1/1 effective date. And I understand the why, because maybe their MA plan, they're going from a med sub to an MA, and it starts on a 1/1 or whatever the scenario may be. But what's wrong with starting the hospital indemnity coverage today? Because let's say if you were talking to somebody in October, if they were hospitalized between October and January, they'd still get the benefits, because these hospital indemnity plans don't really sit on, doesn't matter if you have an MA or not. It doesn't matter. That's the one thing I love about this business, is you can be very creative about how you can do things. If the product works, the questions aren't, do you have an MA? The question is, have you been hospitalized the last 3 months, and so forth. The app questions. You can be creative. You can use this with Medicare supplement plans. It's very, very much, make a lot of cases for various programs to be used. So, so if you want to do effective date as of today, not a problem. If you want to do effective dates at maximum 3 months from now, you can do that too. But it doesn't have to be the first of a month. It doesn't have to be the 15th of a month. It can be the third of a month, the fourth of a month, whatever the case may be. So you got some flexibilities there with from that perspective. Now, one of the things I mentioned earlier about, we have access here, is that we, with our GT Link. Notice, if you notice, I've been playing around, moving around this within the system here by going to these hamburger symbols. Oops, I guess I timed out on that one. I better get back into it this way. This does time out on you, so if you do leave it idle for a while, you would have to log it back in. But good thing I can go back to home here, and I can go access GT Link, and now I can do in my download form. So maybe you want to take a look at, in Ohio. I'm going to use Ohio specifically here, just because I know, if I'm Amanda, I'm working in Ohio today, and I'm looking at Advantage Plus Elite, which we got Florida. And if you do business in the state of Florida, the product works similar to what I described here. The big difference is that it's an association-based product, and it's called Indemnity Plus Elite. So the client would need to be a member of the association. They get some discount programs along with being a member of the association. But most importantly, they're going to get access to the benefits that I described here earlier. But let's just, so you got a number of different things you can choose from here, but let's just say we go with Hospital Indemnity. And then when you click search, you can get access to the brochure. Now you want to order supplies. You need 20 brochures, put 20 in here, update cart. You'll see up here that your number is going to be 20. You can move on. Go to what else you might want. Are you doing applications over the face-to-face? Do you like doing paper apps? Then you can put on your supply order here. I need 20 paper apps. Get those added to your cart. And we also have an underwriting guides and all that good stuff. So now let's say I'm done with my order. I click on my cart. Yes, this is what I'd like to order. I'll hit continue, and then I'll submit the order, and then then it'll come into us electronically. We'll fulfill your order. Within a day or two, it should be sent out to you via UPS, and you'll have your supply. I think it's a very simple process from that perspective. So I know I kind of went through a lot of information, and if there's any questions, I want to make sure I answer those. And I think I see a couple there, so I want to answer those, and I want to keep it within the top of the hour here. But there's a little bit more information that I could have gone over. But again, though, I will encourage you, pay attention to, these hospital indemnity plans are really about, are really about doing, pennies on the dollar is what you're offering your clients for a significant amount of benefit. I want to kind of demonstrate that real quick here, just to kind of give you an idea of what I mean by that. Is if I take this example here that I'm looking at, 6 days, 330 days of benefit period. I know it's not the one that, if I know I see the premium there, I want to switch it to annual premium, because I could switch that pretty easily there. So if I had a client that used this plan at 6 days, and if I did 6 days at 330, that's $1,980 of benefit they would receive of being hospitalized for 6 days. Okay. Now, how do I determine my value of my premium against that 1,980? Well, I would take the $311.19. I would divide that into the $1,900 benefit that that client would have received. By dividing that into that benefit, what that tells me is that if my client used this plan one time, they would have to save $311 for 6.3 years to equal the $1,900 that they received, that they would receive out of the plan. Now, what's the likelihood of somebody being hospitalized? Probably pretty good, right? Now, what happens now if people get hospitalized more than one time? Now, the 6.3 turns into 12.6 because now 1,900 times 2, that's going to be, I'm bad at math, so I apologize. 1,900, and I'm just keeping it easy numbers. That's $3,800. Now, for a client to get $3,800 because they went to the hospital twice, they would have to save those dollars for 12.6 years to be able to get that dollar. So what's the likelihood of somebody saving $311 in a savings account in case they get hospitalized? Very, very, very small, right? So that's just you can do it with all the benefits here. 330, like 250 for, I'm sorry, 330 for ambulance. I'm sorry, 250 for ambulance. So I do 250, use it one time, cost me $21.25 a month. It's 11.6 years. I got to save that $21.25 a month to get access to 250 for one trip. So you can do that with all these benefits that we have here, right? So, okay, I'm going to take a look here. And before I forget, if you're not currently contracted with GTL, please, reach out to Amanda. She'll get you contracted, and it's a very quick process. One contract covers all the products that we offer. In addition to what the support that Amanda provides, we have sales support folks that are available to you here Monday through Thursday from 7 to 5 Central Time, and on Fridays from 8 to 12 Central Time. And if you also want to give them a call at 800-323-6907. You can also chat, using your text on your cell phone. You can text them a question, they'll respond to you via text. Or if you want to email them any questions, you can reach them at agency@gtlic.com. So I'm going to take a quick peek here at questions here, I think, Amanda, and try to see if I can answer something for some folks. All right, so I have one question here, which is a good question. That from a pre-X perspective, is that just on the base, or is that a part of the whole program? It's on the whole program. It's not just on the base. It's all the riders will have a pre-X component to it. On the cancer plan riders, when is someone eligible to purchase after being diagnosed with cancer? Great question. Our look back period on our health questions are a 5-year look back for cancer. So if someone's been diagnosed and treated for cancer and been in remission for over 5 years, they can answer the questions. No, not an issue. They can go ahead and get that. I have a question regarding maternity leave. It doesn't have to do with this hospital indemnity plan, but no, we do not have anything that covers specific maternity leave scenarios there. So Amanda, hopefully I covered everything that that you're hoping I would.
Always. And thank you so much for the time. I know that I know that a couple of people that are on the call will definitely start presenting and putting it on the table, as they say. And that's always the first step, is just get it on the table, have the conversation, and it isn't shoving something down somebody's throat. It's going ahead and saying, hey, here's the options. Have you thought about this? And let's go ahead and let's talk about it, so that way they have the option of saying yes or saying no, but at least you've had the discussion and given them the opportunity to make the choice themselves, because you never know what somebody needs.
Can I ask you a question, Amanda?
Yeah.
You and I have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
So, and I always I'm going to pose the question this way.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a client that had Medicare Part A and B, what do you automatically do? Like, just that component of it. Forget about there's an MA in the world.
So if they have A and B and they're coming to me, the first thing I'm going to do is qualify them to figure out what are they looking at and what do they need. So
But
do we go
med
med
sup
sup?
though.
Do we go advantage? Either way, regardless of how I present or what I'm presenting both options on the table and saying, okay, pick your flavor as to which way you want to go. But when it comes to hospital indemnity, it needs to be presented on both sides of the puzzle, not just on one. So it truly does become where we as an advisor need to be able to give them the ability to make an educated decision on the choices that are available without overloading them and putting them on, okay, this is so much, I can't digest anything that you just said. So
Yeah, because you kind of went down the path I was thinking, but in the old days before MA happened, right? When you met somebody with A and B, you automatically talked about F, D, G, whatever it was, right?
Mhm.
That was an automatic. That was you didn't even question it. In
So
today's world.
I actually, it's funny that you were talking about this. I actually have a class that I teach, which is how to have a sales conversation. And I teach it very regularly. And we talk about what you do on the phone pre-screen, what you do actually on the appointment, what you do on the install. I do teach them what questions to ask. And then you lead out on a med sup. Initially going, okay, here's your Cadillacs. This is what this is what it does. This is how it works on the med sup side. And then from there, then we go into, okay, and then the other flavor is Advantage. And this is what this does. So we do present both. And we start with candidly, we start with the most expensive plan which would be a plan G.
Yep.
And then we notch it down. That's how I teach it. And then that way the person has the ability to truly make a good decision, solid decision as to what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why I'm bringing it up because, because I know, I've been doing this for 18 plus years at this point with the hospital indemnity.
Yes.
The hospital indemnity side of it all, and I can't tell you how many times I hear, yeah, I'm going to go back and talk to folks about it, and which never happens, quite frankly. But
well, there's too many people that think that you can't have a conversation with it actually at the appointment, and they're too afraid of what they can and cannot do, so they stick to just this silo because they're afraid of the compliance aspect of it. And you really don't have a lot of the other FMOs in the industry that go out and formally teach, this is what you can and cannot do, and here's how you do this. Which I started my class, God, 8 years ago now. And that was because as a carrier rep, the agents were going ahead and going, I'm scared to death. I don't know how to do this. And where do we go? So, and that's how I rolled it out. And then it became I teach 3 core classes, and this is the 3rd of that core set of foundational classes for me. And yeah, it's an industry thing that I'm seeing. And the more that we can put education around, listen, this is actually, it's not as bad as you think it is. This is actually how you have this conversation. You aren't pushing something on somebody. I actually had that conversation with an agent in my office 2 days ago. She's like, I don't sell any of this stuff because I feel like I am, well, but wait, there's this. Well, no, but then there's this. And oh, well, buy this, you need this too. So now the person feels as though you just sold them 6 policies when they planned on doing one, and now I feel dirty. I mean, that was actually what was said. And I went, okay, so let me right size this for you. And in a couple of minutes, I went back and you can watch that light go where it was like, oh, I didn't even think about doing it like that. And then it was like, okay, game on, we're good. So moving into next year, and especially into the winter time, normally I start working on education and focus for agents, typically right before Medicare Margaritas. So starting in February and then moving into that, we talk about how do you do that and how can you catch a groove? Because for most salespeople, it's okay, if I know how to have that and I can catch and find my own wording with it, then it becomes much easier to do. And I'm finding a glaring spotlight hole there that I need to formally go out and go, okay, guys, let me mock this for you and let me bring in some experts to show you the bells and whistles and the behind the scenes, but let me show you actually how to actually do it.
Yeah.
And so stay tuned. We're going to get a little close and personal next year.
Yeah, that's great. No, because, and here's the other thing I hear about too, and for those of you that are still listening,
Yeah.
Little tidbits of information, I guess, is good. But adding a hospital indemnity product, for example, does not add a significant amount of time to your appointments. Because if you caught the way that I showed you how you present it to the client, you talked about it during your MA, I'll show you how I can cover that. You're just pre-selling there. You're not getting descriptions or anything. And then when you present the overall solution, that takes 5 minutes to go over because it's not really going to be that complex. It's just really kind of quickly explaining this is going to take care of this with your MA. You got 5 minutes of that, 10 minutes of doing the app, you're done. 10, 15 minutes extra, if you want to call it extra, you're done. So, and then I always kind of say, you know what, I can put my head down at night and be peaceful about it. So,
Yeah.
To me, that's my litmus test. If I can fall asleep at night, I'm doing good.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. And we've got a lot of cool things coming down the pike.
Good. Well, looking forward to it. I know you and I will talk, but
Yeah.
we'll definitely talk. But I appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you, taking the time to do this, and just
anytime. Thanks for taking the time. I will definitely go ahead and upload this. I'll get it on my YouTube channel, and then I will also get it on just the various platforms that is reference for everybody, because I do have, I'm going to stop recording.